So we're recording this meeting. It's probably come up to say it's being recorded. And we're going to send it out to all the registrants after the meeting. So if you don't want your photo to be seen, if you want to put your picture off to close your, it's up to yourselves what you want to do. But we'll be sending it out. And since there's only a select four of us on the meeting, if you want to, we'll have some time for questions at the end, or you can put it in the chat function as you go along, and any questions that come to mind. So, okay, so thanks for coming along. We may be joined by a few others as we go on. So, next slide, please, Beth. This is us, as you know, and our contact details. Next slide, please, Beth. So the first thing really is to just say what Cornerstone actually is. Hopefully, you might have had a chance to have a look at it or to read some of the details about it on the website and watch the videos that were there. But basically, it's an online generosity tool. It's an online platform that you can log into. And when you look at Cornerstone and you have your own account for your parish, you can look at ways to analyse and increase your understanding of your church's giving culture. But you can also look at in more detail at your financial information. And all of the details are pulled through from the Return of Parish Finance details that the Church of England holds. So all of that data there that is in Cornerstone for your parish is actually pulled through from that information that your treasurer puts onto the Return of Parish Finance every year. So it should have your up-to-date information there. I mean, you can also add information to that as well. Any local information that you've got that you want to put on, maybe about parish giving scheme or things like that, that isn't on the Return of Parish Finance, you can add that information. And Beth's going to be talking a little bit more and showing a video later on about that kind of information that is included on Cornerstone. But when we look in a bit more detail at our church's giving culture and our financial situation, there may be things that we identify that we're not doing that we might want to try, and things that might increase our giving and it might help and improve our financial situation. So Cornerstone is a really good tool for doing that as well. So it was developed by the National Giving Team about a couple of years ago now, maybe 2 to 3 years ago, they started a development of Cornerstone. And it's taken quite a while for us to get to the point where we're launching it properly. It has actually been piloted now for a couple of years by the Church of England, and a few dioceses have piloted it over the last couple of years. Last year, we piloted it in the end of 2024, in autumn 2024. And I think before us, there was a couple of other dioceses that piloted it, Oxford, I think, and Leicester diocese. So we've piloted it, and I'll say a bit more about that shortly. And the other thing I wanted to say really is that Cornerstone is free to use. There's no subscription to use it or anything. It's a free tool. But what you do need is you need to register to actually use the platform, and you get some login details. But the way to get that registration is for you to contact the stewardship team, and then we can invite you directly to then sign up to Cornerstone. So I don't know if either of you have actually done that yet, whether you've been in touch with Beth now. So after the meeting today, if you want to use Cornerstone and explore it, you'll need to let us know, and then either Beth or I can invite you to log into Cornerstone. Next slide, please, Beth. So Cornerstone is actually based on some concepts that you might have heard of before. You might have heard of the MINT IDEA acronym that the national team have developed over the past few years. And they've developed this MINT IDEA concepts just to try and help parishes to think about ways to enable giving in their church, but also ways to encourage generosity. So the first part there of the acronym MINT, just as a recap, M stands for mechanisms of giving. So ways that parishes can increase the mechanisms by which people give, whether it's by direct debit through parish giving scheme, or it might be contactless giving, it might be online giving, legacies. These are all different ways or mechanisms that people can give. So you'll find in Cornerstone that there are learning pathways, which we'll talk about shortly, all about how to do those things. The same about impact. Actually explaining the impact of people's giving is a really important approach. Quite often we just talk about the need for people to give, but without talking about the impact that people's giving actually has in the church, it's not as powerful. So people usually respond more to when you explain what the impact of their giving actually has. And all of these things are about building trust as well with our givers. And then the idea part of the acronym MINT idea, that we've got inspire giving. This can be done by our clergy. Disciple giving, again, done by our clergy. And then embedding generosity into the life of the church, weaving it into everything that you do, is really important. And then to provide ways in which people can show their generosity, activate, such as Generosity Week, a gift day, having generosity services, all of these sorts of things where people can show their generosity. Now, there is a little video all about the MINT idea, which I've included a link to. We'll send you the slides afterwards and you can watch the video. But Cornerstone is really an extension of these ideas and these concepts. So you'll see it. You'll see the MINT idea in the Cornerstone platform, especially in the pathways. Okay, next one, please. So this is who is Cornerstone for? This is a quote from Jonathan de Bernhardt Wood, who is our Director of Giving at the Church of England. And what he's saying here is that it's for any church that really wants to grow its giving and develop new income generation streams, all to help it enable its church's mission and ministry to flourish. And that's taken from a very short video that we're going to play you now, which has Jonathan speaking on it. And he's just explaining who Cornerstone is for and a little bit about what it is. You'll see when you actually go onto Cornerstone yourself, you'll see that this video was actually done a while ago, because some of the graphics in there, it doesn't look like that anymore on Cornerstone. It's moved on, but it still has the same basic concepts there. So Beth will show you that now.
Cornerstone is for any church that longs to grow its giving and to develop new income generation schemes to enable its church's ministry and mission to flourish. So we've created Cornerstone. It's a series of pathways with simple steps which enable you to implement new giving schemes, new giving mechanisms, and new ways to generate income. And all you need is to find yourself or a member of your church's team to go and implement those steps to grow your giving, to develop new income generation schemes, and enable your church's ministry and mission to flourish. So we can make it easier for people to give. We can explain the impact of people's giving on our church's ministry and mission. We can explain the need and why it's so important for people to give, and we can build trust with those who give. All of this is what Cornerstone is all about. So go to cofcornerstone.org to find out more.
Thank you, Beth. So just a very short video there, just explaining what Cornerstone is and who it's for. Now, he did mention, I think, or you might have seen on the graphics, the insights, the learning pathways and the grants sections. You might not, you might have just missed them. But this is a picture here of what the homepage looks like now on Cornerstone. So when you log in for your own parish, you will have an account for your own parish on here, and this will be your account where you will have your data on. It's your own special account that you'll log into, and you can see at the bottom right, There's a section on insights, which you can click into to look at your financial data. Also, on the left-hand side of this picture there, there's a little menu, a vertical menu. There's an insights there as well. It's quite small writing, but you can click into those sections. And then for the learning pathways as well, there's pathways on the menu on the left there. And also there's a little section on the homepage there that you can click into. And it will actually, I think there's about 43 or something pathways now, learning pathways, and they're being added to all the time. It's still developing. But you can see there's a couple of examples there on under pathways. There's encouraging generosity through fresh expressions of church. There's getting started with contactless giving, and there's maximizing gift aid. These are just 3 examples of the types of learning pathways that are there. They're split up into sort of bite-sized chunks as well, so you can work through a pathway following the different steps at your own pace. And Beth will show you a bit more about that later as well. And then the other section on Cornerstone is the grants database. And this is a really exciting part for a lot of our parishes. There's 600 plus grants. I'm not quite sure how many there are, and they're adding to them as well on a regular basis and updating them. And all of the funders that are on there are all well, all churches are eligible to apply for all of these grants. Quite often with databases, you look into the grant and then you find out that a church isn't eligible to apply. But for these ones, every church can apply. So that's really good. And again, Beth will show you a little bit more in detail about how the grants database actually works. So these are the 3 main functions that you can use on Cornerstone. The insights for the financial data, which you can which is the data that's pulled through from the return of parish finance, but you can also add information to that as well, and the learning pathways that you can follow, and then the grants. Next slide, please, Beth. So I mentioned earlier that we actually piloted Cornerstone last year. We worked with the Harrogate Deanery to run the pilot last autumn, and we had about 15 parishes taking part in the pilot. Now, these are some images of the workshop that we ran for them. We're not doing workshops now. We're doing it more on a one-to-one basis with parishes as they want to join. But because this was a pilot, and it was still very new, we actually ran a workshop day. And you can see that people are sitting in groups. So we had more than one person from each parish involved in Cornerstone. And that's something that is really important as well, that if you're going to use Cornerstone, you really need to try and encourage a few others in your PCC to be involved in it. And you can share the learning and share the financial data and work together with Cornerstone. I think that's an aspect of Cornerstone that I think is really important, that it's not just one person using Cornerstone, that you're sharing it within the PCC. So they all work together. Unfortunately, because we did one of the first pilots in the country. I think we were the 3rd to do the pilot. The Cornerstone platform is still developing at pace, and they did have quite a lot of access problems onto the database. But quite a few months on now, they are working well with it. And some parishes are using it more than others. Some are using it a little bit, and some are really finding it to be very beneficial for them. And the next slide just goes into showing you one of the parishes that have really benefited from Cornerstone. They've really embraced it. And this is St Andrew's, Starbeck. So they have done a little case study for us and given us this lovely picture. We can't believe how lovely this is. It's really nice. And they really, in their case study, it just explained why they wanted to use Cornerstone and how much they've gained from it. So they wanted to use Cornerstone because they wanted to become a more generous church, and they knew that Cornerstone was based on the principles I explained of Mint Idea. And they worked through, they identified the pathways that they really needed to follow, the learning pathways, and they worked through a selection of pathways in their own time. They really engaged the PCC with all of that work as well. They, for instance, they carried out a generous church review. That was one of the pathways that they followed. They held a couple of generosity services, something that they maybe hadn't done that much before. They were already, no, they actually they relaunched a PGS. I think they signed up to the PGS. I think I made a mistake there. I think they signed up to the parish giving scheme as a result of the case of Cornerstone experience. And they also used the Living Generously videos that are on Cornerstone to in a little study group, discipleship group that they had at the church. So they really embraced it and got a lot from Cornerstone. And one of the learning points, the key learning points that they said to us as well, was that they had learned the importance of communicating the impact of giving. They hadn't really done that before. They had talked about the need for giving a lot, but having followed one of the pathways on communicating the impact of giving, they then did some of the things that had suggested, and they found that that was really helpful. So we're really grateful to St Andrew Starbeck for explaining the experience that they've had, their Cornerstone journey. It's been really positive for them. And a good case study there. There's a link there in that last point to the part on the website where you can read more about what their journey was. And there's a little video from Reverend Phil Carman talking about, it's only about a minute long, the video, but he's just talking about their experience. So you can have a look at that later if you like. So now on to Beth. She's going to go into a little bit more detail about Cornerstone functions.
Yeah, hi everybody. So yeah, I'm just going to talk a bit more about I'll go into a bit more detail on the 3 functions, but before that I wanted to kind of pull out some of the main benefits of Cornerstone, because I'm aware there's so many different things that we can point you to in terms of kind of giving and generosity. There's almost a wealth of resources. So why is Cornerstone beneficial? Why is this one to go to? Firstly, let me try and move the slides. It's all broken up into short, achievable tasks. And from speaking to lots of different PCCs, I think this is constantly an issue of there's just so much to do and so little time to do things in. And Cornerstone is really designed that it's very achievable. It's all separated into maximum 30 minutes per task. And actually the majority of the tasks are maybe about 5 to 10 minutes just to quickly tick a box. And there's definitely like a bit longer ones, maybe if you were to like write an email or create a leaflet, that obviously does take a bit more time, but it's still segmented into these lovely short little tasks. Another thing that's quite helpful is the step-by-step guidance on the kind of more abstract parts of generosity. That there's definitely some things where it's very discrete, black and white. Yeah, setting up a contactless device, there's kind of one way to do it. It's quite straightforward. Whereas things, the whole kind of communicating impact, talking to new givers, those things that might be more difficult and a bit more abstract are still broken down in these ways. So it makes them a little bit easier and more manageable to work through. Janet has mentioned as well that Cornerstone is designed to be collaborative, so it's really great if you can get a small team of people involved. You can kind of use it, depends how you want to use it, but as a bit of a kind of project management system. So you can assign different jobs to different people, you can work together. There's ways that you can kind of tick off things when they're completed, which is really satisfying. But so you can all keep track of what's happening and work on things together. And again, Cornerstone is bespoke to your church, so it's the insights page is built off your church data, and you can work through the things that are relevant to your church. It's not kind of a set program that you have to follow. There's things that you can pick up and run with that you haven't looked at before, and other things that you might be great at and you don't need to worry about. So it's really designed to work well for you. Cornerstone is also regularly updated, so there's quite new pathways coming every few months. So there's always going to be something else to look at and to work through. One of the new updates that's going to happen at some point soon is a kind of updated part of the insights page. So as well as getting your financial data from the return of parish finances, there'll be a chance for you guys to put in kind of questionnaire results, and so you can think about the kind of more qualitative data as well as the quantitative, and work through that as well. So that's one of the really great updates that's going to happen soon. And lastly, it's one place to go. I think at the moment there's so many, we could point you in loads of different websites, everything's all in different locations, but Cornerstone's designed to be that one hub that you just need one login, you go there and it has everything you might need. So it saves you having to hop from website to website. So I'm now just going to go into a little bit more detail on the 3 distinct functions. So I'm starting off with pathways, as this is kind of the main draw of Cornerstone. As Janet said, there's over 40 different pathways and they're all separated into kind of different themes and have got different topics. I've mentioned this giving questionnaire, and so this is something that will soon be integrated onto the Cornerstone platform. It currently does exist, it's just off the platform. So if you wanted to use this to work through and get kind of responses from not only you and maybe a small team, but you can also get it from your congregation, share it as wide as you'd like. And then that can help you in deciding where to start with these pathways, because you might look at this list of 40 and think, I think we need to do all of these. Where do I begin? That giving questionnaire can really point you into being like, no, I think the most pressing thing right now, and it seems to be from the whole congregation agreeing, that we need to look at this thing first, communicating impact first. That's the most necessary thing right now. So that is available, even though it's not currently on the Cornerstone platform. We can give you access to that, and it can help you point that first step. So I've said each step is no longer than 30 minutes. So it really is designed to be bite-sized, achievable chunks. And these are all categorized as well. So it might be that, yeah, even if you don't know exactly which one to start with, you might agree, actually, we really need to work on our mechanisms. We need to work on getting people actually being able to give in the church. Or it might be that actually we need to work on discipleship, and you can filter it down to that level. And as I said, it's all in one place that you have to just point people to one website and they can work through that. So this is a screenshot of what the pathways page looks like, and you can kind of have a bit of a study of all the different options. This is just a little snippet of some of the options that are there. So when we led this with the pilot group in Harrogate, it was in October time, so actually that's celebrating a generous Christmas right in the middle there. That was a very popular pathway that people clicked on. But you'll see there's all sorts of different things that can be used at any time of year, just to work through. The next one is our insights page. So this is a picture of one of the graphs. It does look a bit chaotic. There's a lot of information that you can see, and it's designed to be a dynamic graph. So you can click on those different items at the bottom and just pull out the information that you want to see. If you want to see it all, then you can click them all. If you'd rather just see 1 or 2 things and pull out that key information, then you can as well. So it is all clear data. You've got all of the numbers there. It's pulled from your return of parish finance data. So whatever you're submitting each year, that will be available to view in Cornerstone. So there's no need to kind of go in and put in your data once again, because I know you do that multiple times already. So it saves you having to go through your finances one more time. There is an option if you did want to update it, because obviously return of parish finance is often like a year or something behind as we're getting more data putting through. So there is an option to go in and manually add your data. There's also ways that you can see your data compared to the diocese averages as well as the national averages, so you can kind of see how you're doing in comparison. The third thing is the grants database, and this is designed for churches, as Janet's already mentioned. So all of the grants on there will be eligible for churches to apply to. These are also categorized, so you can go in and select the area of work that you're looking to do. So it might be saving heritage, it might be kind of setting up a new youth group. You'll be able to categorize that. You could also look at national grants, but also local grants if you want something more bespoke to your area. different kind of costings as well. So you can probably filter that down. Janet has also mentioned there's over 600 grants on there at the moment. So these are constantly updated. So ones that are closed are pulled off, but ones that are opening up are added in. There's also the option for you to submit a funder. If you know of a grant funder that's not already on there, you can email and add that one in. And these are regularly updated. So moved on too quick. So this is also designed to be a collaborative thing as well. So you can keep track of the grants that you're looking at, you can shortlist them, you can update with whether you're successful in receiving any funding or not successful, you can update if you've applied or not applied, so you can really keep track of how things are going. And so that works for, again, if you're in a smaller group of people using this platform, then everyone else in the group can see what's already been happening. So again, this is just a screenshot just so you can see what the page would look like. But there's that option at the top to search for the grant, and then you can filter them down. There's that shortlist button, so you can really keep track on what you're doing. And it's really helpful to be able to keep track of if you do receive funding from a funder, not only for you guys to know what money you've received, but also for us to see where churches are receiving money. Because if there's one grant person that's really great at giving lots of grants to our churches, then that's something that is helpful for us to know. So that's really good. So next, I'm going to play you a video. This is about 3 minutes long, so it is a bit longer, but this is a walkthrough of the platform. So you'll be able to see in more detail what you're expecting. So when you log in, what it looks like. So I'll just press play on this now and we can watch it together.
Welcome to Cornerstone, the Church of England's new growth platform.
Sorry, that stopped for some reason. Let me go back.
Created to help churches better understand and improve their financial situation and giving culture. In this video, we're going to show you how you and your team can use Cornerstone's data, tools and resources to grow your income and inspire generosity in your church. Let's start by opening up the dashboard. This is the main hub where you can view your church's data, progress and next steps at a glance. The platform tracks your activity, so you can pick up where you left off and quickly see what you need to do next. In the toolbar, you'll find all of Cornerstone's main features: insights, pathways, and grants. First, let's take a look at insights. This dashboard allows you to view your church's financial data in an easy and concise way. You can see your income sources, reserve levels, and more. We know that every church is unique, so insights allow you to use your data to identify the challenges and opportunities available to your church. Click here to filter the data by a specific year or years. You can also add or edit your church data by clicking Figures. Now that you have a clearer understanding of where to focus your efforts, it's time to open Pathways. Pathways are simple, step-by-step guides to help you achieve your goals. Each one breaks down a larger task into smaller, actionable steps containing everything you'll need to complete it, from email templates to product recommendations and customizable designs. Pathways make it as easy as possible to make real progress growing giving and generosity in your church. Plus, there are loads to choose from, so take your time to find those most relevant to your needs. You can filter your search by mint, an idea to help you find what you're looking for. Click to find out more and save the pathways you'd like to complete by adding them to your shortlist. As you work through Pathways, you can easily track your progress so you and your team are always on the same page about what's completed and what's still to do. The Grants tab takes you to our live grants database, which contains an up-to-date list of over 600 grant opportunities suitable for churches. It's searchable and can be filtered to discover the grants that meet your needs. On each grant listing, you can find details about the funding available, eligibility requirements, and application process. Plus, the shortlist function allows you to save any relevant grant opportunities. In your shortlist, you can view and monitor each grant application by updating its status so you know which grants you've applied for and which opportunities are still available. Grants are a brilliant way to fund specific projects and initiatives in your church. New grants are added every week, so be sure to check back and take advantage of the latest opportunities. Cornerstone works best when you gather a team of people to work together. You can add new users and change their permissions in My Account. If you need help or guidance at any stage, click the Support tab to get in touch with your diocesan giving advisor. They're available to help you make the most of your finances and work out the best next steps in your giving journey. So that's Cornerstone. Everything you need to grow giving and generosity in your church, all in one place.
So we're going to just wrap up by showing what the next steps are. So to sign up, you'll need to get in touch with me or Janet. And that's just so that we can then physically press the invitation button. So then you'll get an invitation from Cornerstone and you'll be able to set up an account. And then once you're in, we really recommend just having an explore, see what you find, and then do book a one-to-one with me and Janet to really kind of go through those details and work through kind of what maybe your first pathways might be, to go through any questions you might have about the data or the grant stuff. We can sit down with you and go through it step by step. So yeah, definitely get in touch with us. Our shared email is down at the bottom there, so you can get us an email. Just before we end and go on to questions, I also just wanted to point out some of our other resources that we've got. So we'll send out these slides and you'll be able to click on these links. And our link tree at the top links to all sorts of different things that to do with stewardship. So there's things on grants and fundraising, on income generation, and general giving and discipleship materials as well. So you can have a little explore, but also do have a look at our website. And we're always happy to have a chat with you about anything. So do just get in touch.